In the shadowy depths of a mist-covered forest, the village of Eldridge lay nestled among towering trees. It was a place where superstitions ran deep, and the echoes of ancient legends whispered through the air. Among those tales was one that struck fear into the hearts of villagers. The story of the Darkborn, a creature born of both werewolf and vampire blood, a cursed being destined to bring chaos and destruction. The Darkborn's origins were shrouded in tragedy. Eldric, a fierce werewolf hunter, had spent his life eradicating the very creatures that roamed the night. He was revered and feared for his skills, his reputation built on the bones of fallen beasts. But the hunter's heart was forever changed when he crossed paths with Lyra, a woman cursed to roam the night as a vampire. Their love was a dangerous secret, one that could shatter the fragile balance between human and beast. On a stormy night, against the backdrop of thunder and lightning, their passions culminated in a fateful encounter. As their bodies intertwined, a powerful force surged through them, igniting a forbidden union. The consequences of that night would resonate for generations. Lyra became pregnant, and in time, Kael was born, a child who would inherit the dark gifts of both a werewolf and a vampire. As a child, Kael was both a miracle and a menace. He grew quickly, his senses sharpened beyond that of a normal human. The villagers whispered about him, casting wary glances whenever he passed. His mother adored him, cherishing his every move, while his father remained distant, torn between love and fear of what his son could become. When Kael reached adolescence, the struggle between his two natures intensified. On nights when the moon hung low and full, he felt an overwhelming urge to run, to howl at the sky, to embrace the primal side that lurked within him. But as dawn broke, he found himself shackled by the cold, calculating instincts of his vampire heritage. He was a walking contradiction, unable to fully belong to either world. One fateful evening, driven by a wild urge he could not ignore, Kael ventured deep into the woods. The air crackled with tension as he crossed the threshold into a realm that belonged to the creatures of the night. In that moment, the transformation began. His bones cracked, his senses heightened, and he embraced the wolf that lay dormant inside him. The night was alive with his howls, reverberating through the trees like an ancient call. As Kael began to accept his dual nature, a new threat loomed over the village. Rumors spread of a rogue werewolf pack that had crossed into Eldridge, led by a brutal alpha named Riven, known for his merciless ways. Riven sought revenge on the hunter who had slain his kin. Eldric's past had come back to haunt him, and he prepared for the impending storm. Meanwhile, Kael struggled to reconcile the violent instincts of the wolf and the seductive allure of the vampire. He knew that if he didn't control the beast within, he would become the very monster his father hunted. Torn between loyalty to his father and the understanding that the wolf was part of him, Kael felt the weight of the world pressing down on him. The night the pack attacked, darkness descended upon Eldridge like a shroud. Riven and his followers unleashed chaos upon the village, clawing through homes and leaving destruction in their wake. Eldric fought valiantly, but the odds were against him. Kael, sensing the turmoil, raced to the scene, his heart pounding as he crossed the threshold between man and beast. As Kael arrived, he found his father cornered by Riven. The air crackled with tension as the two leaders faced off, each representing the legacies they had inherited. Kael felt the wolf rising within him, a tempest of power that yearned to break free. "Father, I can help," Kael shouted, but Eldric's fierce glare silenced him. "Stay back, Kael. You don't know what you are." Riven laughed, his voice a low growl. "What a pathetic sight, a hunter's son, torn between two worlds. You will never belong, Darkborn." With those words, Riven lunged at Eldric, fangs bared. Kael's instincts kicked in, and with a primal roar, he transformed, his body shifting into that of the wolf. The battle that followed was fierce and brutal, echoes of growls and snarls piercing the night. Kael fought alongside his father. The wolf and the hunter united against a common enemy. But the battle took a dark turn. Riven, realizing he was outmatched, unleashed a final desperate attack, aiming for Eldric's heart. Kael, filled with rage, intercepted the blow, but not before Riven's fangs pierced his shoulder. The pain was excruciating, and as Kael fell to the ground, a dark transformation began. He felt the pull of the vampire within him, mingling with the wolf's strength, threatening to consume him. As darkness enveloped Kael, he faced a choice: to surrender to the dual curse that threatened to destroy him, or to embrace his unique power. In that moment of despair, he recalled the words of his mother, who had taught him that true strength lies in acceptance. Summoning every ounce of willpower, Kael fought against the encroaching darkness. He focused on the warmth of his human heart, the love for his mother and the bond he shared with his father. With a surge of energy, he wrested control from the vampire within and unleashed a devastating howl that echoed through the forest. The sound was not just a call of the wolf, it was a proclamation of his identity. With newfound strength, Kael rose to his feet, eyes blazing with a fierce determination. The wolf within him and the vampire blood coursing through his veins had forged a power unlike any other. He charged at Riven, his movements swift and lethal. In a final, climactic clash, Kael and Riven collided, the two forces of nature battling for supremacy. With a powerful strike, Kael sank his fangs into Riven's neck, drawing upon the strength of his vampire heritage while harnessing the ferocity of the wolf. Riven howled in pain, and with one last surge of energy, Kael thrust the alpha to the ground, claiming victory. As dawn broke, the battle subsided, leaving behind a quiet stillness. Eldric, battered and weary, gazed at his son with a mixture of pride and fear. Kael, still caught between worlds, approached his father. "I can't change what I am, but I can control it. I will protect this village, not as a monster, but as its guardian." Eldric, seeing the strength within Kael, embraced him for the first time. "You are my son, and together, we will forge a new path. We will show the world that monsters can be heroes." With the rogue pack defeated and peace restored to Eldridge, Kael stepped into his new role. He became a symbol of unity, bridging the gap between werewolves and vampires, showing that understanding and acceptance could conquer even the darkest of legacies. In the heart of the forest, under the moonlit sky, Kael howled a sound that resonated with both power and hope, a reminder that sometimes the greatest battles are fought within ourselves, and true strength comes from embracing the darkness and the light that dwell within us all. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story and want more epic tales like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Join our community, and let's explore more thrilling adventures together.